A picture isn't a kind of linear process. You don't have an idea and then you do step one, step two, step three, step four, and then you're done. Being open to the kind of push and pull, making decisions, responding to the decisions you make, getting descriptive, adding a lot of detail, and then knocking it back and simplifying. For me, that's where a lot of the pleasure in painting lies. That sense of surprise, the sheer pleasure of pushing paint around rather than treating the process of painting as simply a means to arrive at an image. Let's see what happens. Hang on 1 second. Okay. Let's see.
It's gonna be very funky.
The drawing?
Yeah.
My name is Neeraj, Neeraj Sebastian, and I am a painter. I'm a faculty member here at College of the Atlantic, and I teach drawing and painting. My undergrad was in Drexel University in Philadelphia, and I worked in a lab that studied the molecular biology of Alzheimer's disease. And my plan had been go go to India to the National Center for Biological Sciences in Bangalore, work there for a year or two, and then come back for graduate school somewhere in the US. The year in Bangalore was when I definitely realized I didn't want the career in science. As much as I cared about what we were doing, I don't think I quite felt as passionately as some of the other people who were there felt. But there was a lot of uncertainty because I knew I didn't want to have a career as a scientist. Having to let go of a plan that seemed so clear really felt I had this feeling of being totally unmoored and uncertain. I remember the feeling of mixing paint on the palette for the first time, and it just felt incredible, that process. And all of a sudden, I had this feeling that this is something that's been missing from my life, but I hadn't known it was. I decided to continue to take painting classes in Philadelphia, and I went back to India and I built the body of work that I used to apply to graduate school. Now that I've been painting for several years, I can't imagine what my life would have been like had I not started doing this. When I first started painting, I used odorless mineral spirits as a solvent to clean my brushes. And I didn't know how bad they were. And I remember working in my bedroom, and then one night, or just starting to feel really like something was wrong. And I realized, that don't paint with solvent in your bedroom. I feel really vulnerable when I make paintings because you can't hide from who you are. It really is a kind of really opening myself up to the world, and that is what scares me. I think that people will see something that I don't want them to see. The fear is appearing foolish or stupid or something, because we do live in a world where people are very quick to judge. Before making visual art, I wrote a lot, and it feels like I had these images that were really in the foreground of my imagination that I felt. I think I want a way to move those images out of my head and into the world. And sometimes the painting itself, once a painting is done, it's like it's also a clearing out of some of those images that feel very persistent.
Do you feel like you've ever like get to a place of fully excavating the
No,
image?
never. So actually, when I was in grad school, when the thesis show was coming up, there was this feeling of there's just so much I wanted to paint, and then I started feeling there's just no way I would get through nearly close to all of the things I wanted to do. It really feels inexhaustible in some way. There's so much that I want to make paintings of that my mind and my ideas move so much faster than my hands. But yeah, really the work is often dictated by things I'm thinking about. And of course, day to day life, things I hear about in the news and things I read about certainly inform my work. It's like I can't escape from the world just because I'm in the studio. I can't escape from myself because I'm in the studio. I was someone who came into grad school as an observational painter. One of my teachers, she posed a question to the class that we were in, asking, what does risk look like for you? And for me, I knew that risk was inventing. I stretched a big canvas and approached it with this idea that I'm going to invent. All of a sudden, it felt like some of these stories and images and ideas that I've been holding on to tumbled out. And that painting didn't function necessarily as a painting. It was more like a pressure release valve. But that really opened up for me a new way of working. And the painting that I made in the following term really pulled together a lot of my interests in a way that informed everything I was to do after. After the chaos of the previous painting, I decided it's just going to have these two figures, and below the two figures on a bed, below the bed you see a couple of moments from the past, and above the bed a kind of a little house, and perhaps it's a moment from their future. That painting was a breakthrough, and then I continued in that mode of invention for the rest of grad school and continue to do that now. One of the recurring themes in my work has been this idea of communities, who gets to be a part of the community. what's the cost of joining a community? The crowd has recurred in my work. I'm imagining something like this to be a group of people at a gathering of some kind, perhaps a political rally. I continue to be interested in faces. The story of Cain and Abel, one brother killing another in order for there to be some kind of renewal or regeneration, is something that exists across multiple cultures. And I remember during grad school, I kept dancing around the actual depiction of violence. I talked about it during studio visits with my teachers, but didn't actually depict the moment of violence. And then one of my teachers said, if this is if this is a story you want to tell, just do it, just show it. And so I did make a painting in which violent action was much more present. That was, you saw the moment of that impact in that fight. One figure holding a rock, towering over the other figure on the ground. That painting, till today, I think remains one of what I think of as my favorite paintings that I've made. That really felt like another breakthrough painting. I used to think that the paintings that were focused more on the home were almost like a separate body of work than the ones in which I dealt with myths and dreams. What I saw when I put the work up was that the way I had painted the rocks and the way I had painted a bed sheet shared a lot in terms of language. So all of a sudden, these themes that I thought were separate were connected by my hand, how I painted them. I didn't start painting till I was, I think, 26, if I'm not mistaken. So it's never too late. There is a kind of visible success when it comes to young artists who are represented by major galleries and can sell paintings for tens of thousands of dollars, if not more. And that might make someone think that that's what they want for themselves as well. But I think my advice would be to just focus on making good paintings that you think can stand next to the people whose work you care about. And that might mean working very slowly and methodically. You can't overrate how much financial security is also liberates the mind when it comes to the work you do. So if there's less pressure on, I have to sell this painting so that I can pay the bill or whatever it is, it allows you to be more present with the work, make it work with what you have already going. People can have other careers and still make art. One doesn't necessarily have to exclude the other. I feel like I'm at the point now where I don't have to be satisfied with something that's not quite. Which means I've picked up a lot of older canvases and started reworking them, trying to find something new, something surprising in them. So that kind of openness also comes from just the sheer volumes. The more paintings you make, less precious you are about the individual paintings, the more open you are to taking risks. Now might be a good time to work my way back into this painting and see if I can pull something out that makes me feel better about it.
Amazing.